What's up everyone, I'm Dulex and I'm going to show you how I did the flooring in this cargo van to camper van conversion build. Installing flooring in a van is a little bit different than in a house because you have to keep in mind that none of these materials and none of this flooring was intended to be put into a vehicle. It was intended to put into a house. So the extreme temperature shifts and moisture changes that a vehicle goes through is a lot more difficult for the flooring to deal with. There are a bunch of different types of flooring that you can put into a van, but two of the most common materials are laminate and then vinyl. But there's a bunch of different variations of those two. So you have like one piece of vinyl sheets that can cover the entire space and it looks like a bunch of different planks of wood, but it's really just one single sheet. Then you have peel and stick tiles versus tongue and groove flooring. My personal favorite to use is water resistant laminate flooring, and that's just because of how easy it is to install, and it's cheapest next to the peel and stick tiles, but a lot more durable. Waterproof vinyl flooring is probably the most durable flooring that you can use, but it's very heavy and very expensive. I'm not a big fan of using sheet flooring either, just because it's really easy for it to bubble up. A lot of people like to do their flooring at the end of their build, but I like to do mine in the beginning. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, if you do it at the end, you're gonna save money because you're not gonna be filling in as much space with the expensive flooring that's on top. But with a small space this big, it's really not that much flooring to just cover the entire thing. And then you don't have to actually build around it when you're actually doing the flooring at the very end. You can just lay it all down and then all of your furniture goes on top of the flooring, and then that also will strengthen your flooring a little bit more because a lot of your furniture is going to be drilled into the floor. So when it's drilled into the floor, it's going to be holding it all together just a little bit more, and it'll look a little bit more professional. Like if you look underneath the bed or something like that, it's not like some OSB or some beat up old plywood. It's the same floor that's in the rest of the van build. Flooring for me is a 4-step process: framing, insulating, subfloor, and then real flooring on top. I've already pre-designed the platform on SketchUp so that I'll be able to make the cuts quickly, and I'm planning on using these 2x2s in order to make the platform so that I'll have room for the insulation to sit next to it and underneath the subfloor. Is fitting in there pretty well, so I'm gonna move on to the next step. When I cleaned out the van, there was a carpet liner that was in the back that was the exact size of the bottom. So I pulled that out and I traced it onto some cardboard before I threw it away because it was absolutely disgusting. So I'm gonna trace that template onto this plywood, and then I'm gonna cut it out on there, and then that's going to be my subfloor that I'm gonna attach to the frame that we just put in there. Alright, so this does not fit perfectly right here. I just need to cut this in a little bit more to fit in the wheel well, and then I should be good to go. Alright, it finally fits, so what I'm going to do now is take it out one more time so that I can put the insulation in underneath here before I put the final flooring on top. So if at any point you were wondering why I didn't attach this piece to the ground, this is why, for this step I'm doing right now. I'm putting some foam board insulation into this floor frame, and I need to put a piece inside of each one of these little spots in between the supports. So I took it out just so I'd be able to comfortably cut that out without being all crouched up inside of the van. So I'm just gonna use a utility knife to take my insulation with a vapor barrier on it and then make some cutouts and put them in all of these little squares. And then I will tape it in, put the subfloor on, and then I can finally get to the actual finished flooring. So I'm going to be doing the flooring a little bit differently this time. All of you guys who do flooring professionally are absolutely going to hate me. I'm actually going to lay out the flooring on my garage floor, then take my subfloor, lay that on top of it, and trace it out so that I have all of the pieces that need to be cut. The reason why I'm doing that is just simply because I won't have to cut each and every little piece while I'm in there. I'll just be able to do the full install all at once and then put it all in there the way that it's supposed to fit, like a puzzle piece. I know a lot of you are probably gonna be mad about this one, but hey, this is just how I'm doing it, and there's a million different ways to do something regardless of what anybody tells you. Installation for these is pretty simple. You just take your tongue side, stick it into the groove that you've already laid down, and push it down, and it'll snap into place. Then as long as your pieces are facing the right way, then your next piece should fit right in here because there's a tongue on this side and on this side of the board. A handy tool to have is a rubber mallet like this one so that you can give it a good tap just to make sure it's in place. You can even hit it in this direction, but just be careful not to break that tongue right there. What I like to do is have a sacrificial piece that I can stick in here, and then I can hit the end of this, and I don't care if this one breaks as long as this side is good, and that'll help me make sure that all of this stays tight. And there are different ways of laying out your pattern, but what I'm doing is using full pieces, and then when I get to the end, I'll cut that piece, and then that cut off starts the next row. Full piece again, cut off, starts the next row, and then that's how you're going to continue so that you have a good pattern of the wood. So I'm going over all of the wood pieces of this with some foil tape because supposedly that helps maintain the vapor barrier over the entire surface. I'm not sure if that actually works or not, but I'm just doing it because it's pretty quick. You can do it in a couple minutes, and this stuff is just a few dollars. Now that the subfloor is completely in, I'm going to do one final step. I'm going to put on this waterproof underlayment. This is made out of cork, so basically it's going to help with any type of moisture or mold or anything that may form underneath the floor. Kind of need all the help with that you can in the van, so I'm going to lay this down first and then put the flooring in. Flooring in a van, I get asked the same question. Did you install the flooring by screwing it down? Did you nail it down? Did you attach it down? Or why didn't you attach it down? This is a floating floor, so that means that it's not meant to be attached down, and it would look really weird if there was like screws in your floor. By going around all of the little individual shapes that you have in your van or in a house, like these wheel wells that I had to go around, for example, what that does is it holds it down so it won't be able to move around once the entire floor is laid completely out. And then also in my case, since I'm doing the flooring first and I'm going to be building my furniture afterwards, all of that furniture is going to be drilling down into the floor and holding it still even more. So by the time the van is done being built, this floor is going to be super solid, but it's already extremely solid right now. It's not moving anywhere unless you physically try to pry it up.